I feel ashamed, I feel so sad, I feel embarrassed. I mean, I don't sleep around and I keep a good personal hygiene, so why do I have the thrush? Hi guys, you're welcome to my new subscribers and welcome back, and a very big thank you to my returning subscribers. Like you've already seen on the screen, we are going to be talking about the vaginal thrush today. Yes, I hope you're excited as I am. So get your pen, get your paper ready, and let's get right into it. What is a vaginal thrush? It is also called a fungal vaginal infection, okay, but it is an infection of the vagina from the yeast. It's a yeast infection from the Candida family, okay. So they are a group of like family members, but yes, which we call the yeast. Yeah, so the commonest cause of it, the commonest amongst them that causes it, is the Candida albicans. So like I was saying from the beginning, most people, when they get to know that they have the infection, feel ashamed. They feel like, I've kept myself very well, I don't sleep around, I feel ashamed. They feel like people would judge them and all that. I'm here to let you know that you shouldn't feel ashamed. It has nothing to do with your sexual preference, okay. About 70% to 80% of women would at least have this infection once in their lifetime. Yes, you heard me right, once in their lifetime. So do not feel ashamed. And I said about the Candida albicans, about 20% of women have it living with them without causing any issues or problems. They don't have any symptoms. It's just there and it's not causing any issues. So yes, you might be having it, whoever you are watching me, and you don't even know it. It's just there. It's not causing you any issues. So let's not be ashamed, all right, about it. So how would you know that you have this Candida? In my part of the world, we call it white. Yes, my Ghana girls and then Ghana guys. Yes, when we say I have white, it means that you have the Candida infection, or you have the yeast infection, or you have the vaginal thrush. First of all, it gives you an itchy feeling. Number one, like so bad. It itches. If you're alone, all you would want to do is to just reach in and then scratch so hard and so bad. If you've experienced this before, please let me know in the comment section below. It is not funny at all. And usually when you're not alone and you have people around, you see that they do this wiggle dance. You might not know, it's very subtle. So you see that they keep rubbing their thighs together as if, you know, they are just moving their legs and their thighs, but it is so bad. So that would make you know the itch. And then secondly, a discharge. So about the discharge, there might not be any discharge at all. There are people who have the vaginal thrush and will not present with any form of discharge. Secondly, you might have a whitish discharge. There's that one, I mean the discharge is white, but there's the creamy kind of white, and then there's the cheesy kind of white. These are the two types of whitish discharge that you might come up with. One thing about this discharge is that it is not offensive, right? It is not offensive. That's one defining thing about the discharge. So it's either you do not have any discharge, you have a creamy white discharge, or you have a cheesy, like cheese. Yes, those of us who love pizza, yes, that kind of cheese on it. That is the kind of discharge it will give you. And then the third symptom that it will come with is that you feel sore. Like when I say sore, like pain, let me put it that way, pain at your vulval area, like not inside your vagina. Your vagina is inside, but the external surface of the vagina, what we see outside, you see that it becomes very painful, sometimes even red, and around it so very painful, okay. Yes, because sometimes it's because of the excessive itchiness. You scratch the place so much, the place, it becomes sore and then painful. Sometimes too, not with a scratch, but as the disease progresses, it becomes very, very sore and painful. And because of that, when you urinate, you have this burning sensation. It burns, and then we say that's dysuria in medicine. That's what we call it, that burning sensation. So they fear going to urinate, because when the you know, I know you know that, like, I mean, when you get hurt, okay, maybe you get cut by blade or something, and then you put salt water on it, you see how it burns. That's how it feels like. And let me say this, usually women will come to the hospital and they will tell the doctor that I have pain when I urinate. If this is all you come to the doctor with, when it comes to pain during urination, it is mostly associated with urinary tract infections. Like, we associate it with your you know, not the female reproductive side. We associate it with your urine tract, that side. So if you come and then out of maybe shyness and all that, you just tell the doctor that, oh, when I urinate I feel pain, we would give you antibiotics to go and clear it. And the funny thing is, when you go and take antibiotics for a vaginal thrush, right, because you indeed have a thrush, but because you didn't explain the process well, the doctor will give you antibiotics and you would go take them and clear out the good bacteria that is in your vagina. We call it the normal flora. The good bacteria there, you would clear them with antibiotics and rather give the yeast the opportunity to thrive, making the whole thing worse. So when you come, it boils down to the shyness again. Feel free and let the doctor know that this is how it started, itchiness, and then you come to the discharge if you have any, and then the dryness, and then the soreness. Then we take it up from there. From the dysuria, which is the pain when you are urinating, sometimes it gives you pain during sexual intercourse, a superficial one. Not, there's a deep pain when you have, but sometimes with this one, it's superficial pain when you have intercourse. We call it dyspareunia. These are the signs that this would show that you have a vaginal thrush. So what causes it? Let me say this again. I told you that there are lots of women walking around with the yeast living in them. And let's use yeast. I mean, when it comes to bread, okay, baking of bread, if you know the process, we add yeast to the dough. When you mold it and every day, add yeast in molding the dough to cause it to rise, the bread to rise. But when they add the yeast to the dough, you know, it needs some certain conducive environment for it to let the bread rise. When you add yeast to the dough and then you just leave it there like that, it wouldn't rise. But they cover it, put it in a moist environment so that the yeast will be able to rise. That is the phenomenon between this yeast thing. It will be there, calm and cool in your vagina, but because your vagina has its own flora, it has bacteria there that protects the place. It has, I mean, glands that produce certain fluids that cleanse and wash the place up. And since your system is functioning well, the yeast will just be there. But immediately it gets this conducive environment, just like the bread in the dough, the yeast in the dough, it would begin to proliferate and then cause issues. So what would cause you to have this? Nowadays, I know we know vaginal douching, introducing different types of things in there. They say it will help the place tighten up. They say it will help the place look nice. They say it will help a whole lot of things, just introducing a lot of things. I know we know it. Nowadays, it's all over the place. Vaginal douching is one. And there are people who use scented soap in washing their vagina. It is part of the things that can cause that, as well as feminine washes. They are all over the place. It will make the place smell good. Even there are vaginal deodorants and sprays that people put there, spray there, all that. These things, they distort the normal bacteria of your vagina. They either kill them, destroy them, and then the yeast now is like, if the master no day, then the boy is there to work out. Then it just comes up and starts causing issues. So all these things, if we practice them, we should stop. And then there are conditions when your immune system goes down, just the same way they get their strength to work up. So if you are diabetic, and you are not taking your medication, diabetes alone will not cause, but uncontrolled diabetes. So you have diabetes, but you decided not to take your medications, it would cause this thrush to come up. And then maybe you are HIV positive, you're also not taking your medication. These are some of the things that you have control over. So let's take note of all these things. Now, how do you deal with this? If you get to know that you have this, how do you do? I've mentioned a couple of things that help the yeast infection, which is already dormant and living with us peacefully, to thrive. So you stop the douching, you should stop the vaginal deodorants, all these feminine washes. God is wise. He made the vagina a self-cleansing organ. It cleanses itself. So there's no need introducing perfume, introducing deodorants to tighten, to do this. It's all not necessary. And if you have a condition which causes your immune system to be low, I mentioned diabetes, I mentioned HIV, please make sure that you are on your medications constantly and consistently, so that you prevent some of these things from happening. And then good perineal hygiene. Okay, keep the vagina clean. Don't wear too much tight clothes. All this thing needs, it's a conducive environment, it's there, just wait it. But if you don't give it that environment, it cannot do anything. So your tight clothes, too tight, making the place so moist, yes, they will get chance to also proliferate and all that, right? And then, like I said, if you are diabetic, please take your medications. If you are HIV positive, also take your medications. And then, as women, we are taught to wipe. When you use the washroom, you wipe from your front to your back, not from your back to your front instead. Okay, so that you don't introduce certain things from your anal area into your vagina. Just wipe. Learn to wipe from your vagina to your back, rather, instead of doing it the other way around, right? So I mean, I hope you've learned a thing or two from all that we've said. Don't be ashamed. That's one thing I'm stressing on. Do not be ashamed to come to the hospital. The most important thing is that when you get it, most people feel like, okay, I'll go to the pharmacy, tell them this or that, and they'll give me medications, and then I'll treat it with. It might be working for you, but the truth is, you know, like I said, the vagina is inside. The female reproductive organ, right from the vagina, we go into the cervix, we go into the uterus, there's the fallopian tubes before the ovaries. And these infections, sometimes, that is even if it's the candida we are talking about, sometimes it is not candida, sometimes it's not, sometimes it is something else. So if you go and you describe and they give you treatments for candida, these things, they proliferate, they'll be there, and then they ascend up. And later on, the commonest, most of the commonest complications it will bring you will be infertility. You want to have children, you can't have children. You want to have children, you can't have children. You want to have children, and you'll be moving from one fertility clinic to the other because you decided to sit home or go to one of these shops. They have a lot of things. I know, we hear them on the radio. They'll be giving you one medication curing 1,000 diseases, and then you buy them and it looks like, oh, it's gone, then it resurfaces, then you rebuy them until it gets too late. I would advise that when you see this, go and see your doctor. And I mean, if it is really candida like we've spoken about, you don't need to bring your partner in, except it is something else. But if it is this, your partner doesn't have to be screened or has to be treated as well, but you just coming in to your doctor and then they doing proper investigations to really say that yes, this is candida, then they treat it for you. Or, oh no, it is more, then they treat it well, so that you don't have any unwanted complications that could have been prevented today. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel and also like. And most importantly, this is education. This is information that people out there need to hear. Please, let's spread the word. Let's share it on your WhatsApp, share it anywhere even if you don't want to share, you talk to someone about it. Well, this is what I heard on this doctor's channel and all that. Let people get the information out there so that we prevent certain grave complications that, I mean, the cost sometimes is unbearable. And so I would see you in the next one. Until then, it is a bye from here.